Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoterica and our continuing series of the MiSTer FPGA DE10 Nano project. And today we're taking a look at the work-in-progress Cave 68K core made by nullobject, because Cave shmups are absolutely incredible and each one of these games costs a small fortune. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like, subscribe, and that notification bell definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But all of the games on this board, especially the ones made by Cave, are fantastic. But when I say they are expensive, that's the big kids club in arcade board collecting. I own one original board. I bought it a long time ago, and it's worth about $2,500 right now. So to say that you want to be playing these on MiSTer FPGA is true. Limited options, but they're all useful. Rotate screens is going to be the biggest one. If you have a CRT, you can just turn it on the side for Tate mode. And I'll go over some of the refresh rate options and video options later, but definitely make sure you define your buttons and get the layout that you want. I am playing this with an arcade stick hardwired into the MiSTer, and I put the buttons where I feel natural, and this is something you might want to switch it up. But the greatest part about this core running on FPGA is that the lag is non-existent. I am able to bypass every bullet and patterns that I have memorized from playing this game before, and it feels identical to if you were playing original hardware. Via software emulation, if you get lag, these games become near impossible to complete because you need instantaneous reaction, and when you push a direction or a button, you need it to work right then and there, and on MiSTer you're getting exactly that. And that is crucially important because these games are fast twitch games and any sort of lag whatsoever, and you're going to be wondering why you can't just run around the screen like this, bypassing absolutely everything. Of course, you need to memorize the game and get good at it as well, but with lag, that stuff right there just really isn't possible. But let's move on to the next game in this little tour, Dangon Feveron. Maybe not my favorite game just because of the speed of your character. You can adjust it, but it always feels a little fast to me. But another spectacular game in this core, and definitely a Cave game that you probably haven't heard mentioned near as much as the rest of the games on this list. And that's the other reason why this core is spectacular. You can pause. That is interesting. I love it, but it's not supposed to be there. But you'll see here, if we go into debug, you get some more options. You can turn off background layers and sprites. I'm not sure what it's benefiting. If you want to turn off the background, it is easier to see shots. So as a learning tool, you definitely can turn that background off to get better at the game, and then turn it on when you need it. But don't forget, these are arcade games. These are not console games, so there's no option menu. You need to go into the service mode if you want to change any of the parameters of the board. Things like whether or not you're able to continue, whether or not that C button autofire is on, how many coins per slot, meaningless on MiSTer. But then the game difficulty, you can put it on easy to learn. I don't recommend it start at normal, that's where you want to be. But if you're getting good at the game, you can put it on very hard as well and change your life counter. Just remember that you can't get out of the screen until you go back into the MiSTer menu and you go back to service mode, and that's basically turning it off. Then the game will reboot as normal. If you're in the arcade collecting scene, if you've played a lot of arcade games on MiSTer, that might be familiar, but if you're just starting to get into it, some people get confused and don't realize that all of those options are articulated in the service menu for this particular board. But again, just how spectacular it is to play these games, because some of these are specific to arcade boards, and a lot of them, if you want original hardware, are quite expensive. MiSTer is doing a great job of implementing that 68K Cave platform here, and this is still beta work in progress, but one of the things that I love about it is that the sound is spectacular, and Dangon Feveron has an awesome soundtrack, so go ahead and listen for 30 seconds, and I'll come back and keep touring you through the Cave core. Enjoy! Bonus game, everybody, because after I hit export and uploaded this video and before it went live, Gaia Crusaders was added to the Cave 68K core, and of course I wanted to come in and talk about it because otherwise I get a lot of comments in the description saying, hey, Gaia Crusaders is available as well, and that's how quick all the developments on MiSTer happen. I had this scheduled 2 weeks ago, and this game was now released to the public, so we can talk about it, and damn, is it a really fun and interesting beat 'em up And this is another extremely rare game that if you're even lucky enough to find a PCB for, it is not going to be cheap, but that's the speed at which the MiSTer community moves. I can make something on a Tuesday and it's kind of out of date on Friday. I can make something on 1 week and 2 games have been added to the core the next week, but again, 1 extra game. But let's get back to the normal commentary. You're going to hear about the soundtrack of Dangon Feveron. Here we go. That sounds exactly like it should, and on MiSTer with the HDMI out and that clear audio, it is spectacular, but the analog audio is good as well. But moving on to Espradi, I believe I'm pronouncing that right. I'm trying my best here, but pronunciation is not my strong suit, and I do look it up before I say the word. Another amazing cave shmup. This might be one of my favorites, and it is playing spectacularly on this core, and that's what I love about this core so much. This is a one-to-one feel of the original arcade games, and I have played all of these games on original boards either from my collection or in different arcades that I have visited, and it's so much fun to play these on MiSTer, and I'm hoping it gets more people involved in cave games. That's why I'm talking about this as a little bit of a tour. Now do keep in mind this core is not completed. There are other games on this platform that have not had cores made for them yet, and there are 2 games that are Patreon specific, and I just don't usually show those because most people ask me where do I get them, and I have to explain to them what Patreon is. It becomes a whole thing. But definitely check this game out. If you play only one of the games on the cave core that is a shmup, this is definitely the one I would recommend you start with first. It's probably one of the hardest ones, but again, I just can't emphasize how great, or lack thereof, the lag is on this platform. It is exactly how you need it to play. If you make a mistake and you die, that's because you weren't in the right place at the right time. You can't blame the lag, you can't blame the controller, it is on you. And that should be the gold standard for any sort of shmups on MiSTer, not being able to blame lag. Now definitely don't use this core with a wireless controller, I would not recommend it. You want to be hardwired in directly to your MiSTer, or else you're going to get a little bit of lag, and trust me, that maybe 1/2 to 1 frame is going to be the difference between you learning the game and doing really well and dying. But of course, it wouldn't be the Cave 68K core if we didn't have a cute cat in a scuba suit, and this is Puzzle Un Poco. Now this is not the game you think when you think cave, but let me tell you, they made other games, and this is a spectacular puzzle game. It is 1 part Puzzle Bobble, 1 part Tetris, 1 part Puyo Puyo. It's doing its own thing, and damn it, it is fun. And it's also cute and colorful, and you can't go wrong with that because mostly Cave makes violent shmups or otherwise, you know, things that have a Japanese flair to them. This is just fun from start to finish. But it gets hard quick, and it becomes addicting, and it plays perfectly here on the core. If you're looking for a new puzzle game to play, I can't recommend this one enough. The only way I would recommend something above this is if you said you've never played Puzzle Bobble before, I'd say start there, but definitely work back towards Puzzle Un Poco because the game's constantly adding in new mechanics, it's constantly changing, it's constantly giving you something new to do and see, and you'll realize when you start playing this game, you think you're going to play for 5 minutes, and magically an hour has gone by and you're 100% engrossed and sucked in. It really is just that good. Now both Donpachi and Dodonpachi are available on the core as well. Let's start off with Donpachi, the first game in the series, and I would say this is probably my least favorite cave shmup of all time, and I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of comments down below telling me I'm wrong, and that's fine. It is subjective. There's nothing wrong with the game whatsoever. It is a great shmup. It just doesn't have the look and feel and vibe that I want in a shmup, but I know for some people they absolutely love this game, and it is available on MiSTer, and you're going to have an absolutely fun time playing it. And that's the great thing about this core, is that maybe it'll get people into bullet hell shmups. Maybe it'll be your first introduction to cave. Maybe you're going to see a name in that arcade list there and you're going to wonder, what is that? Let me try to play it. And hopefully this video, if you've never played some of these games before, inspires you to go out and play them, because this is one of my favorite genres, and trust me, you don't have to be good. You get to learn how to be good. You learn the patterns, you learn the memorization, and you improve. It's a practice situation. But Dodonpachi, the sequel, this game is absolutely epic. It is everything I want out of a cave game. The soundtrack is amazing. The background and sprite work is spectacular. The bullet patterns have a great rhythm to it. This is just bullet hell shmup perfection from start to finish. And if somehow you've never played this game, you definitely have to give it a go, because it is one of Cave's best, in my opinion, from this era. And I'm excited to see what else gets done with this core, because like I said, there are other games made by Cave and otherwise on this platform that aren't yet working. There's a Power Instinct fighting game for an example, not a shmup, not a puzzle game, made by Atlus for the arcades, and I love the Power Instinct series. But yeah, as a start to the 68K core for Cave on MiSTer, this is absolutely amazing. It has everything that you're going to want to play off the top, and like I said twice already, the lag being non-existent makes this the perfect way to play the games, because trust me, go on eBay and look up a PCB, an original one, not a repro, for any one of these games I'm showing you on the video right now, and look at the prices. If you wanted to buy all 6 games on this video, I think it'd probably be about $10,000 plus if you bought them individually. That is how expensive they are. But on MiSTer, with a 68K Cave core, you can play them in the comfort of your own home, and it feels perfect. Short of that, if you have any questions, leave them down below. I'll have a MiSTer video next week, another video throughout the week as well. But this is amazing, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.